extraordinary ability to grab a man's attention to the extent where he simply cannot forget them? In the meantime, others, regardless of how much they try, appear to disappear into the background like a fleeting moment. It's not because they are without beauty, charm, or effort. It's because there is a far deeper, practically secret layer of female energy that most women never truly embody. An energy so powerful it speaks not to the thinking mind, but to the deepest, oldest parts of a man's spirit. According to Carl Jung, every real connection between two people doesn't start with words or actions or the perfectly written text message. It begins in quietness. It begins when two souls meet in a way that awakens something ancient, something unaware within them. And when a woman naturally, even without knowing it, carries this hidden energy within her, she becomes the reflection of something every man has been quietly hoping for his entire life, even if he cannot explain it. Here is the simple truth. Men do not become hooked on you, not in the way we often believe. What they become hooked on is the feeling you spark in them. A woman who is familiar, yet beyond reach. Gentle yet impossible to confine, present yet slippery. She is the storm the soul never saw coming. She is the space between knowing and mystery, and it is in that space that true obsession takes hold. In today's video, I am going to guide you through the 7 hidden layers of feminine energy that have the power to awaken a man's deepest, most basic obsession. But listen carefully. This is not about how you look. This is not about the surface. This is about the energy that lives under the skin, the energy that speaks before you say a single word. And here is the intriguing part. Some of these layers may already exist within you, silently shaping how the world reacts to you without you even knowing it. So I encourage you to stay with me until the very end. Because the final secret might not only show how to stir an obsession within a man's heart, but also unleash a version of yourself you have never seen before. Tucked away deep within every man's mind, there lives an image of a woman so powerful, so hard to pin down that he cannot quite describe her with words. What is even more fascinating is that this image is not born from his past relationships, his childhood, or the women he comes across. It comes from a much deeper place, rooted in his unconscious mind, shaped by ancient stories, inherited memories, and the combined experiences of people long before him. Carl Jung called this image the anima, the internal feminine ideal that resides in every man's heart and mind. She is not shaped by social beauty standards. She is not a reflection of his mother, his ex, or any specific woman he has known. She is far more profound than that. The anima is a complex emotional mark made up of signs, emotions, desires, and gut feelings that a man craves, often without realizing it. She embodies gentleness, spiritual depth, mystery, and an almost holy allure. And when a woman enters his life and unknowingly triggers these sleeping emotional layers, he feels an overwhelming pull, as if a hidden, ancient force inside him has been awakened. This moment marks the awakening of a man's most basic nature, where logic dissolves, where reason fades, and where control slips through his grasp. And because he cannot logically explain this feeling, it turns into an obsession. Jung explained that when the anima is stirred, a man no longer sees the woman standing before him as an individual. She becomes a symbol, a mirror reflecting parts of his own soul he has yet to understand. And it is not just love he feels. It is an almost desperate need, a search for something inside himself disguised as his strong interest with her. Women who unintentionally embody the anima often carry an emotional depth, a flow of spirit, and a magnetic unpredictability. They are not always sweet nor always fierce. Like water, they change and flow, sometimes calm and inviting, other times waving unexpectedly, showing hidden depths. One moment she is soft and caring, next she is direct, grounded, and bold. not because she is playing a role, but because she lives truly through every layer of her emotions, like water turning into mist, ice, or rain. She embodies every version of herself, and none of them are false. She is not afraid to show weakness, yet her independence remains strong. She does not chase men because her world is already full, alive, and complete, and men find themselves wishing to enter it, though they know they can never fully own it. But Jung also warned of the danger hidden within the anima. If a man remains unaware of this ideal within himself, he risks falling into false ideas, putting his own unresolved desires and shadows onto the woman before him. He may convince himself he is madly in love, but in truth, he is simply chasing his own reflection, unknowingly drawn to the parts of himself she activates. That is why some relationships feel magnetic, electric, even chaotic, yet so painful. It is not always love for the real woman. It is an unconscious chase of something lost within himself, reflected back by her presence. But here is the most captivating part. You do not need to master these theories to awaken the anima. You do not need to perform, agree, or change yourself to be desirable. The anima stirs when you live with full sincerity, unapologetically accepting your differences, your depth, and your completeness. It is your unfiltered self, your emotional complexity, your refusal to get small to fit into social rules that breathes life into the deepest, most uncontrollable desire within a man. So the question is, how can a woman awaken this powerful hidden desire without trickery or tactics? How can she naturally bring out these basic emotions in a man without even trying? The answer lies in the 7 feminine secrets I will share with you next, each one a key to unlocking the magnetic energy that grabs attention without effort. There is a truth about attraction that few people will ever tell you. Men are not hooked on who you are on paper. They are not hooked on your looks, your kindness, or even your charm. What truly captures their mind and stays in their soul is the emotional experience you create within them. It is the feelings that leave them breathless, curious, slightly unsteady, and wanting more. This is the first hidden feminine secret, shifting emotions. It is the quiet, often unnoticed force that pulls a man in and makes him unable to look away. And what is important to understand is this is not some planned game or shallow tactic. Shifting emotions is natural. It is the art of living in your full range of feelings without saying sorry. It is how your energy can shift like a song, rising and falling, making his heart lean in, unsure of what comes next. You might make him laugh easily, then pause, letting quietness stretch, and suddenly he feels the need to know you more. You can move from carefree playfulness to thoughtful sincerity, from soft vulnerability to confident boldness. And none of it feels out of place because it all comes from your most genuine self. Carl Jung once beautifully described it like this: the meeting of two people is like the contact of two chemical materials. If there is any reaction, both are changed. But for that reaction to start, there has to be an emotional power. Shifting emotions is exactly that, a sudden flash of unpredictability that awakens him. A woman who always shows the same side of herself, always gentle, always agreeing, always cheerful, may be pleasant for a moment, but soon she fades into the background of his memory. But a woman brave enough to live and show every emotional shade within her without filtering herself to fit expectations is the one a man cannot stop thinking about. Modern psychology confirms this. Research shows that unexpected emotional changes, differences, and unpredictability trigger the release of dopamine, the very chemical behind excitement, desire, and even addiction. It is not always the comfortable emotions that draw someone in. It is the moments of surprise, the unspoken "she is not what I expected," that become unforgettable. Think about it. That moment when you tease him playfully, laughter fills the space. But then your eyes soften, your voice slows, and you share something sincere, unfiltered, and real. That sudden change does not just change the conversation, it moves something inside him. It creates space for curiosity, vulnerability, and a longing to understand you beyond the surface. What is happening in his mind? His empathy deepens, his attention focuses, and a subtle confusion keeps him leaning closer, wanting more. At that point, it is no longer just physical attraction. You have drawn him into an emotional experience, and that, my friend, is far more powerful. A woman who dares to express the full view of her emotions in a world where everyone wears masks becomes unpredictable, untamed, unforgettable. He cannot predict you, and because of that, he cannot control the way he feels around you. Emotional psychology also reveals that humans remember strong emotional experiences far more clearly than neutral ones. If you are only pleasant, you will be remembered as sweet, nothing more. But if you make him laugh, make him think, stir interest, and yes, even make him a little uneasy with your absence at times, you create space in his memory where no predictable woman can compete. Even the strongest, most logical man is not protected from this. Shifting emotions gets around his walls, awakening something basic, something unfiltered, something beyond words. But let me be clear, shifting emotions is not about chaos or moodiness. It is not emotional games or instability. It is the smooth expression of your opposing emotional layers. Jung believed that every human being is a mix of opposites, light and shadow, logic and instinct, masculine and feminine. When a woman lives truly in all her differences, it does not confuse a man, it awakens him, because in your presence he does not just feel attracted, he feels complete, as if his own broken pieces are being called to the surface. And in a world obsessed with speed, predictability, and instant satisfaction, a woman who brings out emotions like an unpredictable, beautifully written novel, where every page turns with wonder, becomes the story a man cannot stop reading. What is remarkable is that this difference does not come from external methods or dating advice. It is born from a woman deeply connected to her inner world, unafraid to explore her light, her shadows, her intensity, her softness, and to embrace every part of herself as worthy, real, and beautifully human. When you realize you can be a cool stream one moment, a blazing fire the next, a storm or a quiet sunrise, without saying sorry, you stop being the woman men merely notice. You become the woman who wakes them up from within. Shifting emotions is the spark that draws him in. But what makes him unable to forget you long after the conversation fades? What turns interest into lasting desire? It is the second feminine secret, one most women overlook: emotional self-control. A woman can capture through her emotional depth, her playful shifts, her mystery. But she truly becomes unforgettable when she is complete within herself, when her identity, her happiness, and her sense of worth do not depend on a man's attention, his words, or his presence. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." A woman who is solid in her own being, who knows her worth without needing constant approval, gives off a quiet, powerful magnetism. She does not wait to be chosen to feel valuable. She does not need love to feel complete. She is already whole before anyone comes into her life, and she will remain whole when they leave. She does not stand on the sidelines of life hoping for help, for someone to come and make her existence meaningful. She takes care of herself, invests in her own improvement, and fills her world with experiences that matter with or without an audience. In modern psychology, there's a term for this strength: emotional self-management. It is the ability to manage your emotional state without relying on others for reassurance or stability. Yet, it is a skill so few women develop in today's world, where constant notifications, messages, and short interactions keep people hooked on external validation. Far too often, women are taught to make relationships their center, to believe their emotional world rises and falls based on a missed text, a delayed call, or the absence of 3 little words. But here is the truth. A woman solid in emotional self-control can love deeply, feel intensely, even want passionately, and yet never lose her center. She keeps showing up for herself. She goes to the gym because it is part of her growth, not to impress him. She focuses on her career, her passions, her friendships, and her well-being. She learns, she evolves, she builds a life that feels rich and meaningful. And it is that energy, the energy of wholeness, independence, and quiet confidence that makes men want to stay. Carl Jung explored this through the process of self-discovery, the journey of becoming one's true, genuine self. He believed that until you step outside of society's given roles, until you peel away the masks and discover who you truly are beneath the surface, you cannot achieve psychological maturity. When a woman enters a relationship without knowing herself, without understanding her limits, her needs, her fears, her desires, she becomes likely to losing herself completely in the presence of another. Every text, every compliment, every moment of silence from him feels like her emotional world is hanging by a thread. But when a woman has found herself, when she walks through life knowing exactly who she is and what she deserves, she does not risk her heart for the sake of being wanted. She offers love by choice, not by desperation. She gives her affection because it improves her, not because she feels incomplete without it. She is not easily influenced by promises or swept away by the thrill of being chosen. Her feet are grounded in her own worth. She can love fiercely, but if love is not returned, she does not fall apart. She may feel the sharp pain of disappointment, the ache of heartbreak, but she does not shatter because her base has never been external. Behavioral psychology reveals that people naturally value what is rare and what requires effort to get. Emotional self-control is the rarest form of scarcity, the one most overlooked yet most powerful. Picture 2 women. One constantly waits by the phone, rearranges her schedule to be available the moment he calls, and sacrifices her own important things to meet his every need. She may be sweet, but over time she becomes predictable, expected, and easily taken for granted. The other, she responds with calm assurance. "I'm busy with a few things right now, but we can meet later this weekend." Not because she is playing hard to get, but because she respects her time, her commitments, her life. And though he may feel a brief pang of disappointment, what follows is far more profound. Respect. He recognizes her value, not because she demands it, but because she lives it. He sees that her time, her energy, and her presence are not handed over without thought. And suddenly every moment with her feels more significant, rarer, more worth earning. Emotional self-control is not just attractive, it is protective. It shields you from shallow, half-hearted connections, from men who take more than they give, from situations that drain your energy. A woman who can say no without apology, who can walk away from what no longer benefits her, who rejects love that does not meet her standards, becomes highly appealing to those who are ready to rise to her level. But here is where the deeper question unfolds. When a woman stands firmly in her worth, when she no longer chases approval, when her world is rich and full, what makes a man not just respect her, but want to explore her further? What keeps him interested even when the spark of newness begins to fade? It is something the mind cannot quite analyze, but the heart naturally seeks. It is the quiet, magnetic pull of mystery. And true mystery the kind that makes him lean in, does not come from playing games. It comes from the space you leave unexplained, the depths you reserve, the beautiful unknown he longs to discover. Mystery, when it is real, is not about being cold, distant, or playing clever games to spark a man's curiosity. True mystery is far more subtle, far more magnetic, and far more lasting. It is not about how long you wait to text back or how many secrets you hide. It is about the space you leave untouched, the parts of you that no one gets access to unless they have truly earned it. Carl Jung called this the phenomenon of imaging, a process where a person fills in the unknown with their own imagination, their own desires, their own longing, and this, whether we realize it or not, is one of the most powerful forces behind lasting attraction. When a man cannot fully figure you out, when he cannot explain you, when there is more to your presence than what meets the eye, you do not just remain yourself in his mind. You become more. You become a symbol, a reflection of something within him that he has not yet defined, a mirror to his own hidden desires, questions, and forgotten parts of his soul. That is why you will hear men say things like, "I do not know why I cannot stop thinking about her." Maybe you were not the loudest woman in the room. Maybe you did not say anything outrageous. Maybe there was nothing exaggerated about your presence. And yet you stay in his mind. You stay with him quietly, like a ghost, and irresistibly. Why? Because when everything is revealed too soon, when all the pieces fit together perfectly, curiosity dies. And with curiosity gone, desire follows close behind. Here is the truth. You do not need to keep secrets to be mysterious. But you also do not need to pour your entire life story onto the table the moment someone shows interest. You do not need to become an open book that anyone can flip through at their convenience. Real mystery lives in what you hold back for the right moment, the right person, the right emotional depth. It is in your ability to gently say, "That is a part of me I only share when I feel safe, when we are closer." When he asks questions that feel too soon, too personal, that response does not just set limits, it deepens his intrigue. You are not rejecting him. You are inviting him slowly, on purpose, into your world. There is even psychological research that supports this effect. It is called the Zeigarnik effect, which shows that people remember unfinished, unresolved experiences far longer than finished ones. The less clear the experience, the more the mind lingers, wondering, questioning, imagining, and that space between what he knows and what he does not yet understand about you. That is where obsession quietly starts. Think about the women who make everything clear from the start. They lay it all out: their job, their relationship history, their fears, their dreams, their entire life philosophy, as if openness guarantees connection. But when everything is easy to access, there is nothing left to explore, no journey, no discovery, no challenge for his mind to stay engaged. Jung once said, "Mystery is something to be explored, not explained." And this truth applies to love, attraction, and deep emotional connection. A man does not need to have all the answers to feel love. He needs to feel that you are layered, that you are a journey, not a final stop. A woman who embodies mystery does not do so through pretense or planned silence. She simply does not hand her deepest self to short-lived connections. She knows not everyone deserves access to her vulnerabilities, her stories, her heart. She does not keep.